Hello and good morning, MYM Insiders. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich, and we are here for our Tuesday morning ad clinic. So I'd like to thank you for attending and welcome you this morning. We have either one or two different submissions today, and the reason I'm not sure is because we're still getting clarification on the second one. I do have the first person on the line now. It's Mary Mac-Miller from Mac-Miller Design Build, and I'm going to attempt to unmute you right now, Mary. However, I see that you are on a microphone, which is sometimes problematic on this call. We prefer a telephone, but sometimes it does work. So I'm going to try it now, and we'll see. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. Mary, are you there? Well, that would be the problematic. Hello, Mary. Come in, Mary. Mary, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. You can probably hear me right now. I'm going to ask you to please use a telephone to dial in. The phone number that you need to dial in is on the console that you have. And then there's going to be an audio pin that you'll be asked to enter. So if you'll please do that, that will make it possible for me to speak to you. Also, you can use the chat function if you'd like to send me a message if there's a problem. So we'll give you just a minute to do that. While we're doing that, let's see. I have something to talk to you about while we wait for just a minute for that to happen. So here's what it is. Let me give you some interesting information that I found this morning from one of our MYM consultants. Some of you did not know that we have MYM consultants, and in the past we've had quite a few of them. More recently, over the last 10 years, their numbers have dwindled. We have just a small handful, but we do have one that is succeeding and thriving as a marketing consultant in the swimming pool industry. And his name is Brett Abbott Lloyd, and he sent a good email this morning that I want to just share with you a couple of points from. And the topic is pay-per-click marketing. And I want to just give you a couple of examples here. So let me pull this up and let me talk you through just a couple of things. It'll just take a couple minutes while we let Mary get dialed in through the telephone. And here's just a couple of points for you about pay-per-click advertising. Some of the stuff is stuff that I've known about. Some of it is just some good reminders. So let me give you a couple of ideas. The first one is make sure when you're doing your pay-per-click advertising, well, before we do that, there's data that shows that there's a definite trend in search marketing towards pay-per-click and away from organic search. And if you think about it for a minute, it makes perfect sense. The reason is because Google does not get paid to put your listing in organic search. They only get paid if they put you in paid search. Now, that being said, they do have a financial incentive to make sure that your paid search, organic search works fine, because that's their bread and butter that makes everything else fly. But there are some statistics out there that show that people who spend money prefer paid ads by a margin of about 2 to 1 over organic search. So that's one thing that's interesting. Here's some of the things you need to keep in mind. And I'm going to pull this over onto the screen. It's about negative keywords. If you're not familiar with a negative keyword, it's telling Google which words you do not want to include in your search. What am I trying to say? It's terms that you don't want people to find you under. Okay, so he gives an example in here for swimming pool builders, and he talks about pool builders that do not build above ground pools. And he does a search for above ground pools, and he shows that in the advertisements, the first 2 of the first 3 that come up in paid search, people that paid to be there, are people that do not build above the ground pools. They are people that build gunite pools. So these are ads that are completely, totally, 100% wasted for these people, because they're reaching people that are trying to buy something different than what they sell. So what they need to do is use a negative keyword, which is above ground pools, and that will steer people that are looking for above ground pools completely out. Yes, Rich, I know that you see only the title screen. I haven't shown anything yet. The next thing is geo-targeting. This is obvious. You need to tell Google where you want your ads to be placed, but not just cities. I'm going to request and recommend that you go down to the zip code level so that you are not wasting your money on areas that you really don't want to service. One of the things that you also should do is bid on your competitors' names, especially the larger competitors that people know about that will be specifically looking for. They're going to do it to you, so you might as well, legally and ethically, it's okay to bid on their names, okay? Let's see, just a couple of more, and then we're going to jump over here. Let me do a quick check over here. Okay. All right, let's do one more. Conversion tracking, analysis, specialization. Well, a lot of this is pretty generic information in terms of making sure you use exact keyword phrases instead of broad keyword phrases, and making sure that you have pages set up for each of the things that you specialize in. So we won't get too far into that. I tell you what, we are ready now to jump over, and we're going to go to Randy. Randy, I see that you're on with me, and then we'll come back to Mary second. Randy, you are now unmuted. Can you hear me, Randy?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine, yes.
Yeah, more importantly, I can hear you, because often I can be heard by people on the call, but I can't hear them when they
doesn't go both ways, yeah.
So thanks for being on. My understanding is that you're looking for some information relative to the idea of switching your focus from focusing on women to the surfing brand. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. As you know, roughly the last year and a half or so, I've used this Women's Touch slogan, if you want to call it that, it's Women's Touch identity, and I am deleting that. I'm going away from that for what I've decided to go to, and I think it's a good one, is using this slogan that's called "When it absolutely positively has to be done right," and trying to build an identity around that. I know in the past you and I have spoken about the surfing thing. I guess I would say to you, just put that out of your mind right now. For the time being, forget that. But my identity that I want to use right now, when it absolutely positively has to be done right, and I'm trying to figure out what are the appropriate changes I should make to my website to reflect that.
Let's think about this for a minute. Let me jot this down. When it absolutely
positively has to be done right. That being, it's common. People identify with that. They certainly understand what that means.
All right. So where did this come from?
Well, it originally you probably know it. That actually is a takeoff of a Federal Express slogan used in the 1970s.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, so I guess it's a takeoff from that, but that identity, I think that I've little seen it used by other electricians or plumbers, and I just thought that was a good identity. I thought it's a memorable thing. It brings out a little emotion to it.
First of all, it's not an identity. It's a slogan that an identity can certainly be based on. Okay? So let's start with that clarification. Sure. Here's what I want to know. So what is it that you do that allows you to perform on this promise of absolutely positively done right? This is the key thing, because anybody can come up with this slogan. This slogan, it's not a bad slogan, but it's just a slogan. That's all it is. Right. So what we've got to do is be able to immediately back up this claim with some sort of evidence or rationale that leads people to believe that, this guy doesn't just say it because it's a cute slogan like Federal Express in the 1970s. Right. They actually do it. So
you got to have evidence. Period.
So help me understand, what is it that you do that allows you to absolutely positively do it right?
The tech's very careful in who I hire. Training, we train twice a week. We do happy calls to all our customers. We check up to make sure that everything has gone as we said it would go. If it didn't, we're going to be right back out there. just I guess some of the details and the electrical work we do in the house. We can the equipment we use and our techniques are oftentimes superior to what your average electrician's using.
Give me an example of that.
Sure. As an example, the outlets and switches we use, most electricians, most people in their houses would use what's called a builder's grade type material, stuff that's available from Home Depot. We use what's called pro grade or commercial grade stuff. It's quite a bit more expensive, but it has a far longer warranty on it. It's just a much heavier duty of manufacture. It's much more reliable, much safer than the standard stuff that's used in the home. The methods we have of wiring.
Well, time out. I'm not done on that one.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to drill this down so that I can build your entire marketing message around pro-grade stuff, but I want to understand this one point, because here's what I find is often helpful. If I can give people for instance,
right,
and it's something that they can readily identify with and mentally validate as being true, then they're going to apply that same level of advantage to other elements of your business, okay? So I want to just ask you a couple more questions.
Sure.
Give me an example. You said it costs a little bit more, but it's heavier duty. What's something really common, like an outlet, right?
An outlet. Typical a builder's grade outlet costs roughly 40 cents or so in a Home Depot. Commercial grade outlets that we use cost around $1.70. About 4 times the price. Although you could argue the difference between $40 and $1.70 is nominal, really.
Well, I think it actually makes an interesting discussion, and here's why.
Okay.
Because while you could make the argument that we're talking about $1.30, and in the scope of a job, it's really not significant.
Right.
It really is indicative of the way that a lot of guys think, right? They go in there and they say, well, geez, if I can put this thing in somebody's house and it's 40 cents, and it's basically the same, it looks the same, the customer will never know the difference.
True.
And I'm going to put that $1.30 in my pocket, and if I do that, 25 times a week on various products, or 100 times a week on various products, I'm putting $100 a week in my pocket.
Right.
Okay? And I think the key here really is this. Client will never know, right?
Okay.
Is that true?
That's true. Unless the electrician goes over with him and explains the difference to them, they will never know the difference. They have no idea.
Oh, here's the funny thing, right? The client will never know ... until there's a problem, right?
Until it fails, yeah.
Okay. So to me, this is interesting and it's relevant. And, I think something like an outlet is something that everybody clearly understands what it is. And I think everybody clearly understands that if it's 40 cents at Home Depot, it's $1.70 for a pro grade, that's probably a better outlet. But it's going to look exactly the same, right?
They do. I mean, at least certainly to a layman, they look the same. I can tell the differences, but they're subtle differences. By and large, they look the same.
Okay. Now, I said I didn't want to get bogged down on that one topic, and that's about all the information I need on that. So here's what I heard you say. You hire better. You train more, 2 times per week. You do happy calls. People find anything that's not exactly right, you'll take care of it and fix it. You've got superior equipment. And is there a difference in there's two parts of this. One thing is equipment, and the other thing is tools. Are the tools the same or different that you use? Diagnostic tools.
I guess I would say we have a complete set of diagnostic tools, which all electricians don't have, although some do. The tools we use are all professional grade electrical tools, which all electricians don't necessarily use. Well, expensive things.
Yeah, I think we covered this last time we spoke, and we spoke maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I remember, and we reviewed an ad about a house fire. Remember that? I do remember. So did we go over a concept then that I call the don't talk to strangers concept?
No, we did not. Not at that time.
Okay, let me tell you what this looks like, okay? It's what I call the don't talk to strangers concept. And it's real simple. It goes like this. If I've got a 10-year-old daughter, if she were to walk down the street on a relatively busy street on the sidewalk, okay, not in the street, but on the sidewalk.
Sure.
And 100 cars passed her by during 5 minutes or an hour, however long it takes 100 cars to go by.
Right.
Probably out of those 100 cars, fully 80% of them would probably not even notice my daughter. They're not even paying attention. Or if they saw her, they wouldn't think anything of it. Let's do this. Let's make the girl 5 years old. So now maybe 50% don't notice. 50% might look at it and say, well, that's kind of weird. Why is that little girl walking on the road? But fully 90 to 95% of all the cars that pass either are not going to notice or they will have no ill will intentions towards that girl, right?
Sure, certainly.
Okay. Now, there's going to be some percentage that may stop and try to actually help and render aid, so that's good. But there's also going to be this really small percentage of people, probably guys, that drive by and they have bad thoughts about, hey, there's a little girl, right?
Sure.
And out of that percentage of people that's relatively small, there's an even smaller percentage that might actually do something about it, okay? Now, here's why I'm telling you this. Because the chance of that thing happening, something bad, is really, really small. However, the devastation that occurs, even when it's such a small chance of it happening, is so extreme that you have to take all precautions all the time, right?
Sure, you have to be.
You can't let you can't let a little girl walk up and down the street by herself based on the fact that 99 times out of 100, or even 999 times out of 1,000, everything's going to be fine. Because that one time out of 1,000 where it's not fine, it's devastating. Okay.
Sure.
So in marketing, we have this exact same process. It's called don't talk to strangers. You don't want your daughter to talk to strangers. And in marketing, we have the ability to hold up negative, devastating consequences, even if they're not all that likely to happen, because if they do occur, the result is extremely catastrophic, okay?
It is.
Now, let me give you an example of what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about, if you make a bad choice on chewing gum, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, your breath won't be as fresh as you'd hoped, and your coworkers might think you're kind of disgusting. Well, it's not that big of a deal. It's not catastrophic, okay?
No.
If you put the wrong person in charge of your electric, if you put the wrong equipment and tools in place, the result could be devastating, right?
It can, definitely.
Like we're talking house fires and stuff.
Right, electrocutions, bad things happen.
Electrocution. So when we get into this discussion and I say, well, do you have better diagnostic tools? You say, well, some guys have the stuff we have, but some don't. See, I'm only interested in the ones that don't. And my question for you on that type of an issue would be, well, if I called 100 different electricians, what percentage of them would sell me builder grade stuff? What percentage of them would not have a complete set of professional diagnostic tools?
Builder's grade, I'd say 95% of them would. Not having the right diagnostics, I would say 2/3 of them. 2/3 don't. Okay, so you see what I'm saying here? Yeah. I understand. You're going after you're trying to get the people.
Well,
who don't.
But now here's what I'm also trying to do. What percentage train?
That heavily, 10% probably. Most don't at all.
Okay, so now here's where I'm going with this thought. I haven't written anything. I'm just trying to help you think through this whole thing from the perspective of the client, okay?
Right.
If you took 10 competing companies and you started off by saying all of these do everything exactly the way you do. They have the better materials, they have the full diagnostics, they do all the training, they do the happy calls, okay? 10 identical in terms of capability and performance competitors. And then we say, okay, with competitor number one, they're going to have everything you have, except we're not going to give them the training.
Okay.
Well, then their performance goes down a little bit. Okay, competitor number two has everything exactly like you have, including the training, but they use builder grade materials.
Right.
Okay?
I understand.
And then number three has everything, including training, including builder grade, but pro grade, but they don't have full set of diagnostic tools. And number four does everything except for they don't do happy calls. Okay.
Okay.
Then here's what we do. We start stacking these. Well, competitor 5 doesn't do training, doesn't have diagnostic tools, uses builder grade materials, doesn't do happy calls, and now we start to see a real drop off, right?
Right.
And this is what I'm trying to help you understand with this concept of don't talk to strangers, because the likelihood that they call an electrician who comes out and they're pretty good, but not as good as you. I mean, the reality is it's a pretty good chance that the guy that's going to come out is pretty good. Is that a true enough statement?
Yeah, he's good enough to do what they need done.
I mean, how many houses can you burn down, and how many people can you electrocute before they put you out of business? Probably like 5, right?
I hope it's not that many, but
they start to notice this pattern of destruction in the wake of certain electricians. So here's the point. I think if we take all of these elements and we start to build a case, then it becomes very powerful. Because any single one of these elements is pretty good, but when you start stacking them all up on top of each other, it really puts you to the top of the heap, okay?
Significant, yeah.
So when I say we absolutely positively do it right, when you absolutely positively do it right, the problem I have with that slogan, and I don't want you to hear me say this and go, well, geez, Rich had a problem with the slogan, so maybe it's something I shouldn't use. Here's the problem I have with it, though, is I don't know that most people call an electrician thinking, man, I absolutely positively need it right. Most people call an electrician assuming that the guy's going to come out and fix it, and what's the big deal? It's probably going to be done right because, what's the big deal? It's not that big of a deal. I had a problem. He came out and he fixed it. That's what guys do. When you call them to come fix it, they come fix it. Maybe he was a jerk, and maybe he was late, and maybe they overcharged me and, sort of customer service kinds of problems. But at the end of the day, the guy's probably going to fix it right, isn't he? I mean, you just take the old thing out and you put the new one in, and what's the problem?
Right.
So we're speaking about issues when we say when it absolutely positively has to be done right. I start thinking in terms of, okay, well, the president is coming to visit my house. I absolutely have to make sure it's done right this time. But it's an unrealistic scenario. So where I'm going with all this is I want to help people understand that it's not always done absolutely positively right. Your assumption that it's done right just because it's done is wrong. There's other companies that don't do the things, that don't put the precautions in place, don't have the training in place, don't use the equipment and materials, don't have the follow-up in place, and the result of that can be, at best, a poor customer service experience, and at worst, danger for you and your family and your home.
That's all very true, what you just said.
But see, this is something that most people don't realize. And when people don't realize stuff, you have to spell it out for them.
Sure, you need to lay it out, make it clear to them so it's obvious to anybody.
So when you say it's absolutely positively going to be done right, most people will hear that and go, okay, whatever, that's just what the guy said, because isn't it usually done right when you call an electrician?
No. Sometimes it is, but oftentimes it's not.
What I need you to understand clearly is that most people just assume, see, people know this. When it comes to service companies, they know that there can be customer service issues. They know that the guy might show up and have his butt crack hanging out or have a bunch of tattoos and piercings that make him uncomfortable. They know that that's a possibility. Okay? They know that the guy might show up late. He might say he'll be there at 2 and actually get there at 6. They know that.
Right.
They know the guy might have BO and all those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, most people don't really look at the appliance repairman or the air conditioner repairman or the swimming pool repairman or the electrician and think, the guy has no idea what he's doing. He's going to screw it up. They just don't think that. They just naturally assume. It's like your dentist, right? Did you ever walk into the dentist office going, man, I hope this guy knows how to fix teeth? It's a given. You just assume that the guy knows how to do teeth. You just assume that the guy knows how to fix your electric problem.
Sure. He has a license. You figure he knows what he's doing. You hope he does.
Well, and you figure that, if he was really that bad, 2020 would have investigated him. He'd probably been shut down. He'd be in prison for killing people and burning their houses down.
Right.
So I'm just trying to help you understand, and this whole discussion hopefully is worthwhile for other people to help them understand. It's not particularly helpful to simply state, here's what we do that's awesome. Right. When it's absolutely positively has to be done right, because it doesn't resonate with people because they don't recognize that there's the potential for it to go wrong. So what I'm encouraging us to do here is to find ways to bring that out so people can go, oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
You got to lay it out specifically, giving examples exactly in reality. What makes you different? What makes you back up that slogan? What makes you different from these other guys in specific, clear examples of that?
So what if we said this? What if we had a headline for the website that said, when it absolutely positively has to be done right? Now, I'm going to get into this discussion. I've had this discussion before. I just need to have my illustrator draw me a picture of this because this is an interesting concept. Imagine a picture of a mountain. Okay, like a guy would climb, and at the top of the mountain, the guy plants his flag, right? Okay. And that flag says, I conquered this mountain. You with me?
I am.
Now, what if a guy walked out into the middle of a field, he stuck a flag in it, and he said, "This is my field"? People would look at him and say, "You don't get to put a flag in a field. It doesn't take any effort to go into the middle of a field.
Sure.
It takes effort to climb out, and that's why we put flags on them." And I'm going to take your slogan, absolutely positively has to be done right, and I'm going to put that on the flag itself. Okay?
Okay.
And I want you to understand that the flag itself is not what's important. What's important is where the flag is put.
I understand. On top of the mountain. You had to go to some work. You had to work hard to get to the top of that mountain.
So here's what we want to do. We want to show that there is, to use this metaphor, and maybe it's a little cheesy, but here we go. There's a mountain of evidence that shows that flag actually means something. And if we just walk out onto the flat surface and we plant the flag, it doesn't mean anything. So here's what we want to do. We can start with when it absolutely positively has to be done right, but then we have to come in and show, here's what we mean by that.
Right.
What if we did this? Here's a good subheadline for you.
Okay.
Not every electrician. Let me just write this on the screen, okay?
Okay.
And then we can look at it. Give me a second to get this up. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for, what am I looking for? Oh, there it is. One would think I could find it, and I didn't.
Yeah, but you're trying to use the idea of a mountain to give people like a visual image in their mind, so it's easy for anybody to grasp the difference, what you're trying to do.
Okay, you should see my screen now, and it should say electrician on it. You see that?
I do see it.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to type the headline, when it absolutely
positively has to be done right.
All right. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it a little bold. And then I'm going to just start trying to describe this. Not every electrician is willing to, I'm going to find a good way to say this. So as I normally do on these kind of calls, I'm going to kind of just work my way through it. And I'm going to be willing to put things on the screen that I don't like.
Oh, I understand. You're thinking,
let me
you're
get
thinking
there,
on
okay?
paper, yeah.
Not every electrician is willing to
put forth the effort or to do what it takes to make that happen.
All right, so we got to be specific here. Not every electrician is willing to go to extreme lengths to ensure 100%. Now, I don't like this word, satisfaction, done right. I got to find a better word there. Not every electrician is willing to go to extreme lengths.
To go above and beyond.
This is not the right word. Accuracy. Now, I want to find a different word, so I'm going to use my synonym finder here.
Sure.
Correctness, exactness, precision. Okay, I like that word precision. 100% precision. And I don't like the word exactness, but I'm going to use it. Let's see what else I can find.
Yeah, just to get going.
Correctness, accuracy. Well, I'm going to go back and use that word accuracy, I think, because I think it sounds better with precision in front of it. Not every electrician is willing to go to extreme lengths to ensure 100% precision and accuracy every single time.
Right.
Now, how do we do that? You said you train 2 times a week?
We do.
How long?
Hour and a half each time.
I think it's going to be more powerful if you do this. Whoops, did not mean to get rid of my bullet point. 3 hours per week training, mandatory. All right? What else?
If you want to list the on-time guarantee, the professional pro grade devices that are used. We use wiring methods that are, I guess we'll say that the National Electrical Code has a certain minimum standard they want done. We generally exceed that standard, although I know those are just words, and you need concrete examples here. Specifically, how do you exceed them? It's a little bit hard to describe in a bullet point.
3 hours per week training mandatory. Superior materials pro grade only, no builder grade. Builder grade needs to say this and this. Okay.
Yes.
Next.
Do you want to put in there about the on-time guarantee?
In a minute, I do.
Sure. Okay.
Because that doesn't speak to doing it right. That speaks to
True, it does.
making your life more convenient. Now, I want to use that. I like it, and it's important and it's valuable. But if we're going to talk about doing it right, we want to make sure they see, the way that we actually perform on the job. 3 hours per week training mandatory. Superior materials. In fact, I'm probably going to move this here.
You could put a complete set of or full diagnostic tools, a complete set of specialized diagnostic tools. You could say state-of-the-art diagnostic tools.
Now, I want you to see some subtle things that I put in here, okay?
Okay.
Full professional diagnostics on every job. I haven't spoken to the tools specifically, and I've been a little bit purposely vague because I know that people don't really know what this means. So I'll let them fill in the blanks themselves a little bit. But if I say full professional diagnostics on every job, no exceptions, watch what happens when I take no exceptions off.
It looks more commonplace.
Full diagnostics on every job. Okay, well, wouldn't you do that? But when I put in there no exceptions,
right, that implies
I automatically plant a seed in their mind that, oh, well, other guys must have some exceptions, and they must be critical exceptions that are, not helpful to me.
Sure. Okay,
so what's your guarantee?
As far as the on time?
Yeah.
Sure. It's when we promise to be there, when we say we'll be there. If not, your call that day is free.
On time or free guarantee. No hoops. No
gimmicks, maybe. No fooling.
No fine print.
No fine print.
All right, let's leave it at that for right now.
Okay.
And here's what we're going to do. We're going to center this up. When it absolutely positively has to be done right, I'm going to try to make that a little bit bigger. Then I'm going to take this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to break it into 2 lines. Now, this is a little bit subtle here. I don't like how close in length those 2 lines are. Do you see that on the screen?
I do, yeah. They're almost the same
It makes
length.
it a little harder to read. So I want one of the 2 lines to be longer or shorter than the other by maybe 15 or 20%. It just makes it a little easier to read.
Yeah.
Not every electrician is willing to go to extreme lengths to ensure 100% precision and accuracy.
I'd say to put the to ensure up on the first line.
Well, we can't break. We got to be careful where we break lines because it disrupts the flow of the thought.
Yeah, it does.
Not every electrician is willing to go to extreme lengths. Not every electrician. I only need it to be about that long to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish, okay?
Right. You need another word in there, like, or something to make it longer.
Not every electrician is willing
to go
and able. I don't know if I like that or not, but I like the way it looks a little bit better. I've also got a nice funnel going here. Look at the W on when, not, to.
Yeah, the V shape comes down.
Yep, I call it a funnel, but whatever. So now I'm going to left justify these, but then I'm going to indent them. think I indented them one too far. Now, the funny thing is I still have a mountain here, but it's actually an inverted mountain. When it absolutely positively has to be done right, I'm not going to use a ellipsis there, I'm going to use a period. Not every electrician is willing and able to go to extreme lengths. I'm still a little iffy on that top line, but we're going to go with it for our sake of time here, okay?
To get started.
To ensure 100% precision and accuracy every single time. Superior. Now, I'm answering, well, what do you mean? What kinds of extreme lengths do you go to? Superior materials, pro grade only, no builder grade, 3 hours per week mandatory, 3 hours per week training, mandatory, full professional diagnostics in every job, no exceptions, on time or free guarantee, no hoops, no fine print. So now what happens is in a very short amount of time, probably roughly 3 to 4 to 5 seconds, somebody can read this and not just get a cute slogan, positively on time, done right, but they also get the idea in the second one that other electricians don't do things, and we've got 100% precision and accuracy. I might even put an underline on that. Let me get rid of this green thing here real quick.
Yeah, precision and accuracy, those are powerful words.
100% precision and accuracy. What kind of precision and accuracy? Accuracy? 100%. Okay, so then we come down here into the text, and we might say something like, many people think all electricians are the same. Right? Sure, some electricians might arrive late or put something else that's not nice.
Might arrive late, 2 days growth of beard.
Sure, some electricians might arrive late
wearing clothes
or charge more than they quoted, or look unpresentable. I don't like the way that sounds.
Yeah, or don't care about your house, your home.
Or look presentable. Many people think all electricians are the same, right? Sure, some electricians might arrive late, charge more than quoted, or look unpresentable, but I got to get rid of this because I got to use it down here below. Yeah, but at the end of the day, customer service issues aside, they're all going to get the job done right.
Well,
right?
No. People, as you said already, people assume that, though.
Not even close. See how this now sets up to have an interesting discussion?
Yeah.
When it absolutely, positively has to be done right. Not every electrician is willing and able to go to extreme lengths. I like that little able in there because willing and able. I like that. Willing and able to go to extreme lengths to ensure 100% precision accuracy every single time. Superior materials, pro grade only, no builder grade. That needs to be a semicolon. 3 hours per week training mandatory, full professional diagnostics on every job, no exceptions, on time or free guarantee, no hoops, no fine print. Many people think all electricians are the same. Sure, some electricians might arrive late or charge more than they quote or look unpresentable. Probably change that. But at the end of the day, customer service issues aside, they're all going to get the job done right. Not even close.
Yeah. It's kind of a fun thing to read. It's interesting to read.
It's interesting. Thank you. The fact is, doing the job right is absolutely critical when it comes to electricians. There is simply too much at stake. The safety of your home, family, and property depend on the skill set, tools, and hang on, hold on, don't say a word. I got to come up with a word. I've got it on the tip of my tongue. The skill set, tools, and what's the word I'm looking for here?
Motivation?
No.
Care, the word care.
Okay, this is as far as we're going to go because we got to move on. I got to get Mary going on this call. She's probably sitting over there going, "Hey, what the heck?"
Sure.
But this gives us an idea. What I want here is I want to see. Okay, depend on the skill set, tools, and focus, determination, something like that.
Searching for some appropriate, a better word to use there.
Yeah.
You're pretty close.
But see, this gives us a good intro to this whole thing where people are we're gonna bring out these problems that they didn't even realize existed. So what we do here, talk about things you do to ensure great performance.
Right.
And then talk about how you also have great customer service on top of all the performance advantages.
Give some more details, more concrete facts. And this is something that could be used on the website. Do you feel it's fair to use it? It would make sense to use it on there? Yeah.
That's exactly where I would use this.
Okay.
I would love to see a web page that said when it absolutely positively has to be done right. Not every electrician is willing to able to go to extreme lengths to ensure 100% precision accuracy every single time. Bullet, 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 bullet. Many people think all electricians are the same. Sure, some electricians might arrive late or charge more than they quoted or look unpresentable, but at the end of the day, customer service issues aside, they're all going to get the job done right, right? Not even close. The fact is, doing the job right is absolutely critical when it comes to electricians. There's simply too much at stake. The safety of your home, family, and property depend on the skill set, tools, and acts of the person who steps foot in your home with a tool belt around his waist. See that? It's such a beautiful mental image that it creates. Now,
it's like a little story.
It's a very fishy image. So they see this guy with the tool belt around his waist, and now they're looking at him like, this guy's going to freaking kill me, right? Not with an axe, but with his screwdriver. He's going to burn my house down. We demand superior performance, superior materials, and superior attention to details to protect your family. Talk about things that you do to ensure great performance. For example, ProGrade, the builder grade. Talk about how you also have great customer service on top of all advantages you bring. If that sounds like the kind of electrician you'd like to invite into your home, give us a call. We'd be honored to serve. And now this is going to get a little bit iffy, but I'm going to do it.
I was about to say, serve and protect. That's a police slogan.
Yeah, and normally if somebody that's an electrician goes around whipping out serve and protect, you're going to get called on the carpet. Hey, that's for police, not for electricians. Don't be, disrespecting the police officer. But in the context of this discussion, I've definitely shown that I am going to serve your home and protect your home.
Sure. It's not disrespecting anyone.
But we take this phrase that is so powerful in our society, serve and protect, and we, this is subtle, but I like this. All right, I'll send it over to you. Yeah, this is John Wayne stuff. We're going to go, shoot somebody. Okay, so that's how I would do that.
It's a powerful image. If people have a real strong feeling, good feeling about that.
And then I might put a side box somewhere on here. I'd look up some stats about electrician-caused house fires or electrocutions or something like that.
Yeah, I can make examples of them. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a side box that says, what dangers lurk, in your electrician's truck. Your house burns down. Here's a statistic. Here's a link to an article. Here's a link to some stats that show problems. I don't know. Look it up.
I can.
There we go.
Okay, very good. I sure appreciate it. That's great stuff.
Hey, no problem at all.
Okay, I'll keep listening to your further.
All right.
Thing.
Thanks, Randy. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Rich. Bye-bye.
Mary.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Thank you for being patient, number one, and number two, for getting on the phone, because, we use GoToWebinar. It's one of the top, 2 or 3 most popular, well-known, widely used webinar softwares, but it seems to have this problem with these microphones. So I appreciate you being a little flexible there.
No problem at all.
Yeah, well, that's not what we're looking for. That's a shipping label. There's what we're looking for.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom. So tell me what this is and what we're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to find out.
Okay, this is an ad. We have a monthly ad. There's a local lifestyle magazine, and it's called Southwest Metro Magazine. And it's a lifestyle magazine that goes to 5 suburbs in the southwest suburban Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul area.
Okay.
And every year, the readers of the Southwest Metro Magazine vote for their best, their best builder remodeler, their best dentist, that type of thing.
Right.
We have won Best Builder Remodeler 4 years in a row. So that circle is very, people who read that magazine know exactly what that means. So that's
interesting. I think, okay, I'm familiar with this concept, by the way. What you've just described sounds very, very similar to what we have in Dallas. I'm in the Dallas area, called D Magazine, which stands for Dallas. And
right.
They do the same thing. The top dentist and lawyer and anesthesiologist and, all the different specialties of doctors. They do a lot of doctors, it seems like, but they also do, every other category that's important. So, and I agree with you when it says best of, people know what that means. Now, here's what I don't know that people are doing. When they're looking at this ad, so let's look at it from the top, Mac Miller Design and Build. This is now, you've never been on this call before, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you how it works a little bit, okay? Just for your convenience in dealing with me on this call. So what I like to do is give some big picture concepts, and then I like to drill down into some smaller picture detail kinds of things. And really, at the end of the day, here's what we're trying to find out. What is it we want people to know when they see this ad, and what is it we want people to do? So let me ask you this, and I think it's pretty clear with this ad. What do you want people to know? I think you'd probably say it has something to do with the fact that you've won this award, right?
Right.
Okay. What do you want them to do?
Pick up the phone and call us.
This magazine comes out, what, once per month?
Yep.
And can I assume that this ad is this full height of a page?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And is this a regular size magazine or is it an oversized magazine? What size is it?
Let's see, I have to see if I've got one at my desk. It's probably 13 inches tall, and I don't have one here, but I could go get one. But yeah,
well, here's all I'm asking. If you went and found a stack of magazines that included, I don't know, whatever, Shape, Sports Illustrated, National Geographic, whatever, is it?
It's like Time magazine.
Same size.
It's like Time.
Okay, same size, just a standard size magazine.
Yep.
First of all, I think the Mac Miller is completely, totally invisible on this ad.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's good, bad, or otherwise. It's just an observation. Because here's what happens is the way that this is designed, the eyeball immediately goes to Love Your Home Again, and then it bounces quickly up to the best of 14. Okay, and then that Mac Miller is kind of up there, just harder to see. The design and build is so close to the same color as the background that it's almost entirely invisible again, I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's just an observation. What I would rather have happen is if I want people to know that we've won this award, I might come up with a little short headline that just spells it out. Because here's what you've got. You've got voted best builder, remodeler, 2011, 12, 13, and 14. And that's really buried where people aren't going to see it. Now, let me just take, I'm going to have both sides of the conversation here. I'm going to be cynical. Well, I mean, it's not that long of an ad, and people can look there, and clearly it says voted best builder, remodeler, and how is it that people could possibly miss that? There's only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements on this whole ad anyway. So what are you telling me that people aren't going to see it? It's right there in the middle, and there's not that many things for them to see, so clearly they're going to see that. Do you see how I'm having both sides of the conversation?
Yeah, no, yeah, I know, yeah.
And I would say that the way that people are going to read a magazine is they're going to be flipping very quickly through pages, looking for something that's interesting that they want to spend time and attention and effort and read. And when they look at this ad, it's going to be extraordinarily easy for them to miss that, okay? I think it's very fascinating that you've won this award 4 years in a row. I want you to tell me about that for a minute. Tell me, is that a big deal? Is it really a big deal? Did you win it because you're really that much better, or did you win it because really not that many people, apply for the award? I'm not suggesting that's the case. I just want to know a little bit more about this award. Can you tell me about it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's more people. I mean, it's real simple. More, we get the most votes 4 years in a row. Now, I will tell you that, we live and work in the same town, so that helps a lot. And I do a reasonable amount of volunteer sort of charity work, so people just know our name, and it's a weird name, and so there's recognition in that. And we've been around for 10 years, so we've got traction in the name.
That's not really that long for a remodeler, though.
Well, I tell you, for around here it is, because the people who have been in business 20, 30 years have dropped like flies in the last well, really since we've, I would say since we've
okay, so
been in business.
On the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being winning this award really is a big deal. It's extremely prestigious. Down to 1, which is, well, we're glad we got it, but it's not really that big of a deal. Where do you place this award?
Well, I don't think it's important where I place it. I think I don't really care.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, just in the minds of people.
I will tell you, because we struggle with this all the time. Because we actually ask people, because I spent some background in market research. For some people, it means something. It is not a single. It's not a single issue deal breaker. Let's just say it's another thing in our quiver. It's just another deal.
I understand that. Here's why I'm asking, because I'm trying to compare this magazine to D Magazine. It's the one that I'm familiar with here. Let me tell you about D Magazine, not the magazine, but about these kinds of awards. Right. These kinds of awards are really, really important and prestigious in this market. Now, here's why. Because that magazine is almost exclusively read by rich people, okay?
Yeah.
If you look at the advertisements in there, they're for higher-end stuff. If you look at the restaurant reviews, they're for higher-end, trendier, cooler, whatever you want to call it, restaurants. The shops in there sell Cartier watches and Rolex watches, and those types of things are being advertised in there. So to that target market, when a company wins an award, it automatically says not only, hey, there's a company that exists in this high-end rich person type of market, but they're also one of the top companies within that market. And it really is a big deal. Now, not everybody knows about it, and not all rich people read the magazine, and not all rich people that read the magazine ascribe a huge specific, if you ask them how big of a deal is it, kind of a value to it, but it's a big deal. Is it the same here?
I know exactly, because I read magazines all over the place, but I know exactly the type of magazine that you are speaking about. That is not, our local magazine is not to that level, but I would say it's kind of maybe a wannabe So
Is there another magazine that is that magazine that this one is the competitor of?
Not in this market. This is the one and only lifestyle magazine in this market. That's it. There's
Okay,
only
so
one,
it sounds like it's the same magazine. It's just not necessarily reaching out to as affluent of a crowd.
Right.
Maybe it's a little more broad-based appeal.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. I think it's still prestigious. Now, here's where I'm going with this whole discussion, why I'm asking you all these questions. Because I'm looking at this thinking, if you won the best of what is it? Southwest Metro best of 14. Okay, that's pretty interesting. But the real story here is that you won it 4 times in a row, and not just 4 times in a row, the most current 4 years. You know, you didn't win it in 81, 82, 83, and 84, right? You won it in 11, 12, 13, and 14. It doesn't get any more current than that. To me, this is extraordinarily impressive. It says something to me. Here's what it says. Yes, magazines might just hand out awards to anybody. Yes, we don't really know what the criteria was for how you chose the best dentist. Maybe it was the publisher's brother. We don't know. But if you won it 4 years in a row, clearly something is going on that's positive.
Yeah.
So I'd like to highlight this more. I would like people to understand in a more clear and concise way, hey, we won this stinking award 4 years in a row for the last 4 years. Because I think it's pretty interesting. So let's figure out a way to say that, okay?
Okay.
First of all, I would probably flip-flop this ad around a little bit. Were you? I know you were on the call while I was talking to Randy, the previous caller to you.
By the way, can you send me what you wrote? Because I actually really liked what you wrote, and I think that, by the way, I even emailed you that word instead of capability. What about knowledge or training? I actually like writing copy. What about knowledge or training? That you wrote?
It's not where I'm trying to go with that word. With that word, I'm trying to go with sort of a precision, execution.
Oh, I get okay. Fine.
Kind of a word. Execution might be the word I'm looking for now that I haven't been thinking about it and you bring it up. But I think we've kind of got this flag thing. And now your flag has your name on it. And if we take your flag and you stick it in the field, people are going to look at it and go, okay, whatever, Mac Miller, design build, great. If we take it on this mountain, and you'll notice in the last version, I'll pull that back up, it actually in copy turned out to be a reverse mountain, right?
Right.
I think I might take and start with the headline, and then I might come down and put Mac Miller Design at the bottom, because the eyeball is going to take this natural progression. Hey, here's the company that did this great thing. Here's kind of some things that we could do. Boom, it's Mac Miller. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Oh, geez, that sounds kind of familiar. Mac Miller. Hey, we've been sort of thinking about that kind of thing. Wow, there's a company that I'm going to stick at least in my brain, if not actually call, depending, you can't make people be ready to remodel, but you can make them take notice, right?
Right, that's true.
Okay, so let's go back over here. And this is a pretty simple ad because we don't have that much space. It's not like we can write all that junk we just wrote for Randy. We don't have enough room.
Right.
Best. What did you win exactly? Builder Remodeler, is that right?
Yeah, Builder Remodeler. That's exactly right.
Now, you guys are a remodeler, is that right? I mean, you don't build new homes.
We do, but I would say 98% of what we do is and I just assume stick with that for right now.
Is it technically okay for you to drop the word builder and just say voted best remodeler? Can you do that without?
I can ask them, but it's actually, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. It's their sort of category, so I can ask them because it's in their magazine.
There's only one reason I want to remove the word builder. There's only one reason, is because I've got a really, really narrow space to work with here.
I know you do. I know. Well, just do it. And, I'd rather beg forgiveness later. Yeah, just go ahead.
Best voted best remodeler for 4 straight years. Now, let's do this for fun, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to open Publisher. Now, here's what's about to happen. I'm about to do some design and layout here, and it's going to be extremely what's the word I'm looking for here?
Rudimentary. Yeah.
Rudimentary. Thank you. It's not going to be great, but it's going to at least kind of help us see how this might work, okay?
Yep.
So I'm going to draw, I'm going to put a shape here of the ad, which is going to be roughly about like that. Does that look about right?
That's pretty close.
All right. So let's make this a little thicker so I can see it. All right, so that's our ad. Then I'm going to take some text. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw this. Now, I'm just going to play around with this for a minute. So don't get too, don't start hyperventilating if you hate it, because, we're just playing around, okay?
No, I don't. I'm pretty calm.
Voted best remodeler for straight years. Now, oops. Now, what I can't do is I can't manipulate this text to look exactly the way I want.
Yeah.
Oops. I think this might look interesting. Let me go back to your original ad. This might look interesting if this were black and this text were white. That might not look good. Who knows? You never know until we look at it for a second. Now, I don't know how to do this on this program conveniently, I don't think, but I want to crunch that up a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm not going to fool with it, okay, because it's not worth the time it's going to take us to do it. Voted best remodelers 4 straight years. Then you come in here, you take, something like this logo. You drop it in here. No, this would actually be more like up here because I want to squish that text, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
But then maybe we come down here. I'll put that over there for the side for a second. Then we come in here. Is this logo instantly recognizable?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to trust you on that. I don't have independent knowledge of that, but I'm going to trust you on that. Voted best remodeler 4 straight years, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. It's driving me crazy that I can't squish this. I'm going to squish this. Let's see.
I think isn't there a way that where you can just do that, the format and then just say no space? Oh yeah, there you go.
No, that may not be exactly right. That's not exactly the way I want it either, but it's a little closer, okay? Voted best remodeler 4 straight years, and I probably actually take that, put that there. Because now, look how the eye flows. Voted best remodeler 4 straight years, and then they instantly see, oh, buy this magazine, right?
Right.
I don't have to say it in the headline. And then I give them the 4 years, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. And this is an interesting layout and design. Now, we could make this look cooler with a real designer and stuff like that, but it's an interesting layout because it plays with the existing shape of the ad. The shape of the ad is tall and thin, and we're making our copy tall and thin to match it. It's an interesting little play here. Voted best remodeler 4 straight years. Southwest best of 2013, and maybe we come in down here. Let's go back to your original ad. All right, where do we put that thing? Get rid of that. Oops. I'm not trying to say this is a complicated ad. It's not, but you got a little bit of space, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to tell the story.
Right.
All right. So my spacing's not the way I want it, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I come in here and make this a little bit smaller. Okay, that helps. I know you need the license number on there, but I'm going to sacrifice it for just a second.
Okay.
You get the idea, right? And maybe those logos at the bottom are a little bit smaller to, whatever. Voted best remodeler 4 straight years. MacMiller.com. And, hopefully once we get going with your identity on your website, they go to that website and they go, wow, this is really cool. I didn't realize that they did all these cool things.
Yeah.
Now, let's do this. Let's put these side by side. Again, forgive my rudimentary graphic design, but if you're flipping through the magazine, Mac Miller, this Love Your Home Again, really, it's really not doing anything for us. It's not hurting us. Nobody's reading that going, well, that's dumb. They're not doing that. But it's not really having any impact for or against you. It just kind of sits there.
Okay.
Voted best remodeler 4 straight years. And we write it in sort of this bold, big. What I would do is I would come in and I would find a graphic designer that can make those words the same height but different width so that they fill the full space.
Yeah.
So that it looks more like voted best remodeler 4 straight years, and it has more weight because those words are bigger and wider.
Right.
The word remodeler wouldn't be much wider because it's already as wide as it needs to be, but the word best and the word voted, you understand what I'm saying, right?
No, I know. Stretch them, yep.
Well, not just stretch. I mean, this takes some talent. I mean, it's not something that all graphic designers are that good at, but, I don't want it to just be bigger, but it's got to be, maybe a little bit bigger. Anyway, you get the idea of what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Voted best remodeler 4 straight years, best of Southwest. Here's the years we won it. Here's our name. Here's our phone number. Give us a call. I mean, this is a simple ad, but I like it.
Do you think it's important to put that free initial consultation, or just ditch it and don't worry about it?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So where would you put that?
Again, we've just got to play with the spacing here.
Okay, sure.
Maybe we even have to come in here, put a little bullet point there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's actually longer than what you have, too. But I actually have more room. It's a long ad. I mean, it's a very long.
Okay, good. So, you can throw free in there. You can put it, featured on HGTV. I'd say that the picture is probably the least important.
Okay, all right.
But if you have room, go ahead and put it in there.
Okay.
I want to make sure that voted best remodeler 4 straight years really dominates this ad.
Okay.
So people see it and it just jumps off the page and they go, whoa, wow.
Okay.
Interesting. Because remember, here's the question we always use when we're writing ads. Question number 1, what do you want people to know? Number 2, what do you want them to do?
Yeah.
What do we want them to know? And, you can't mistake what I want people to know in this ad on the right, can you?
No, not at all.
On the left, what do you want people to know? What, do you want them to know that they should love their home again? Do you want them to know that you're on HGTV? Do you want them to know that your name is Mac Miller? Do you want them to know that you won a Best of award? And and you can't say, well, I want them to know all those things.
Yeah,
we got to we got to start with something.
Yeah.
Now, look, if you read this one on the right, you know that they won it 4 years in a row. You know that they won that particular award. They know that your name is Mac Miller. They know that there's a free consultation. They know that you're on HGTV and that you've got social, media at the bottom. So they still know it all, but it just follows a more logical format. Yours now is just sort of scattered.
You're right. No, you're right.
Yeah, so this is going to allow you to have more impact. I think your ad right now, as it currently stands, is very easy to miss.
Okay.
It's invisible. It's like a wallflower. It just blends in.
All right.
And we don't want wallflowers. We want ones that stick out and go, oh, geez, a little bit of a punch in the face.
Mm-hmm.
In a good way. So that's what I have for you today.
Good. Can you email me what this
Sure.
sheet? Okay. And then can you also email me that mountain thing I really like what you wrote there too, some of your.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Like
We actually will post all of this on the website when it gets posted later today, so you'll see this. But yeah, we'll shoot it over to you. Not a problem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mary. It's good to have you on, and as a first-time caller, and hopefully we'll have you on again in the future. Thanks so much.
Sounds perfect. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
All right, and that's going to do it. Originally, we were going to have an Insider Open forum, but we actually took Randy from that, so we're going to go ahead and pass on that. We don't have any submissions. We tucked Randy from one and put him to the other. So that's it for today. We'll be back with you next week. We're going to be talking about customer service strategies a week from today, so we'll look forward to talking to you then. Bye now.